Hello, you are watching the latest edition of DBE TV News. We come to you every Friday on the DBE TV channel 122 on OpenView at 12 p.m. and on the Department of Basic Education's YouTube channel. Welcome. I am Tsehohajo Moagi. In our top stories this week, matric learners who missed their exams for various reasons will rewrite those exams on the 8th of December. Gauteng Education Department continues to place grade 1 and 8 learners in schools. The Western Cape Education Department continues with the unprecedented School Infrastructure Delivery Program. And Basic Education long-serving officials thanked for their commitment. The Basic Education Department has urged grade 12 candidates who missed their exams due to various reasons to prepare to write those subjects on the 8th of December. The 2022 matric examinations were marred with protest action, particularly in Mpumalanga, where at times the question papers could not be delivered to the schools for learners to write. In other instances, the candidates were barred from going to school due to the protest action. Meanwhile, in Gauteng, it was initially reported that there was a protest which led to over 50 learners not writing their exam. However, following investigations by the DBE exams team, it emerged that the principal had in fact stopped learners from writing an exam or even two. Letters were given to parents communicating as such. The department has since taken action against the school principal and the management. Other provinces who will need to prepare for this rewrite include the Eastern Cape, the Western Cape and the Northwest.
The Department of Basic Education can confirm that the 8th of December has been set aside as a date for the rewrite of different subjects in provinces where there were valid reasons for learners not being able to write. We will recall that in Mpumalanga there were 1,227 learners who were not able to write due to the community protests that took place there, as well as the 53 learners in Gauteng who could not write in Etwatwa, but also the issue of load shedding which took place when matric candidates were writing computer applications technology. So the rewrite date for that is the 8th of December as well. So we urge all our candidates who missed those exams to prepare for them. In Mpumalanga it's maths and maths literacy, and in Gauteng it's economics paper 1. But there are also other provinces such as the Eastern Cape, Western Cape and Northwest who are also implicated in this matter. So we urge learners in those provinces to prepare to write these exams. We are using a backup paper, so it's not going to be the same paper that was written in the first instance. So we urge parents to support their learners and make sure that they prepare adequately for this particular exam, because we want to make sure that they too are resulted when the minister announces the results on the 19th of January 2023.
The Gauteng Education Department says over 8,000 grade 1 learners and over 23,000 grade 8 learners still need to be placed. As of Wednesday, the 30th of November, over 268,000 learners for the two grades whose parents applied using the GDE online admission system have been successfully placed. The Provincial Education Department says the greatest challenge is capacity at schools in high-pressure areas that have received large volumes of applications which exceed the number of learners they can actually accommodate. To solve this, the department will be providing mobile classrooms to such schools, which will be delivered when the 2023 academic year begins. The online system will open for a month from the 20th of December this year to the 20th of January next year for all late applications.
We have also strengthened our transfer placement system, meaning that some of the learners who could not be accommodated at the preferred schools will then be transferred to the available spaces. We also wish to indicate that from Thursday, the 1st of December 2022, we will commence with the process of placing those parents that could not provide proof of residence. This is their time where we will then be making sure that we transfer offers so that they are placed accordingly. They will be receiving placement offers via SMS, and those parents can also go into the system effectively from the 1st of December just to check on whether they do have a placement offer or not.
The Basic Education Portfolio Committee says the process regarding submissions in relation to the Basic Education Laws Amendment, BELA Bill, is going well. Oral submissions have now been concluded, with some organizations supporting the bill, others calling for certain clauses to be amended, and other organizations have voiced their unhappiness regarding this bill. The bill proposes to amend the South African Schools Act and the Employment of Educators Act to align with the developments in the education landscape and to ensure that systems of learning are put in place in a manner that gives effect to the right to basic education enshrined in the Constitution of the country. The bill seeks to, amongst others, amend certain definitions to provide that attendance of grade R is compulsory and to provide for system improvements in terms of admission of learners to public schools. The chairperson of the Basic Education Portfolio Committee says there are still other processes that need to unfold before presenting the bill to Parliament.
I must say that there are people who are against the bill. There are organizations who feel that there are just particular clauses that we need to change, and there are organizations as well that support the bill. So now that we are done with the second phase, because this is the second phase, we started by making advertisements, and then we have dealt with the oral submissions. And then what we are going to do 2023, when we open, we are going to do public hearings. The portfolio committee is still going to meet next week, Tuesday, to agree which provinces are we going to start with. But we are looking into doing at least 3 provinces when we open in the first quarter, and then after that we will see how it goes and how will the public be responding. And as the portfolio committee now and then, we are going to do reference check to check where are we doing better and what we are not doing better. And then after the public hearings, of course, we are going to collect every information that we had. We are going to do a report that we are going to table in Parliament, which will be, of course, for adoption or rejection.
When we return, we are in the Western Cape as the Education Department finds ways to build more classrooms for learners ahead of the 2023 academic year.
Research is showing that NSFAS supporting students on average are performing better than non-NSFAS supported students, which is also something that is very important because it says this almost complete wraparound program by government of NSFAS students is become very important. Also, the change from NSFAS being a loan to being a bursary has also made a very big difference because it has now even opened access to students, even in those institutions that were unaffordable in the earlier phase of NSFAS. Universities that have been more expensive, like University of Cape Town, Stellenbosch, Wits University, Pretoria, there's been a huge increase of the numbers of black students from poor families directly as a result of NSFAS and the kinds of difference that it has actually made.
Part of the compliance with the kitchen is good ventilation, and when we observe, we see that we have great window here which brings in clean, fresh air and air going outside. And also the use of these stainless steel tables, tables that are not rusted. This is a great a way of complying with food safety. And also the display of this poster, which shows that in case of food poisoning case here at the school, the food handlers actually, they know who to contact, from your environmental health practitioners to the district coordinator, and refer.
we have a sample. She spoke about in case of poisoning, where we track. Every day what we do is that we put the sample in case there is something that is reported. Maybe a child is not feeling well. If they want to trace it back to the school, we offer the sample so that it can be tested. So it is kept for a day. The next day we prepare the sample from the meal of the next day. We will have breakfast. It's what they ate. And this container is meant for lunch. And we have our stations, all these posters. When the food handlers go for training, when they come back, they come with posters. We display them so that as and when they work, they learn and they refer.
The Western Cape Education Department has thanked contractors for their hard work and dedication to ensure learners are accommodated in classrooms when the 2023 academic year starts. MEC David Menir visited Westridge Secondary School in Mitchells Plain and Hindle High School in Delft to view the additional Muladi classrooms being constructed for the 2023 academic year. Muladi technology is one of the new construction methods the department is exploring as part of the unprecedented school infrastructure delivery program. It uses plastic frames to mold concrete walls around steel reinforcing and allow speedily construct permanent and safe school buildings. Menir says the Muladi classrooms account for 238 of the 842 classrooms they are aiming to deliver for the 2023 school year, with all 238 due for completion before the school year begins. According to the MEC, they are currently building 8 classrooms per day on average. Basic Education Minister Angie Motshekga joined the Qatar Embassy in Pretoria, hosted by Ambassador Tariq Al-Ansari, as they celebrated the International Day of Qatar. The diplomatic relations between the State of Qatar and the Republic of South Africa began in 1994, after the fall of the apartheid regime. Qatar was one of the first countries visited by late President Nelson Mandela in April 1995, shortly after he was elected President of South Africa. Minister Motshekga said she believes there is a lot that each country can learn from each other.
South Africa and Qatar are continuously negotiating agreements in various fields. In this regard, my department is currently finalizing a memorandum of understanding in basic education with our Qatari counterparts. And the conclusion of all the outstanding agreements, we believe will contribute immensely in the areas of education and economic development of our people. I also wish to emphasize that our view is that it is also very critical to support relations that will pursue investing more energy and resources in increasing people-to-people exchange between South Africa and Qatar. Again, I can share with the audience that I had a privilege of being invited in Qatar by the Ministries of Education, again to interact at a personal level with the Qatarian people, but also with the departments of Qatar outside the big the frameworks that are there, but just to relate as people. I think we believe that there's a lot that we can learn from each other's cultures, civilizations, and traditions.
She added that there are similar approaches shared by the two nations, especially when finding ways to bring peace.
We share similar approaches, values, and ideas of a safer and more secure world in this regard, including a deeper conviction on multilateralism, as well as a strong belief in the purpose of the principles of the Charter of the United Nations. Since its return to the Community of Nations, South Africa has undoubtedly taken on the role of mediator and peace facilitator in global conflict. Qatar has displayed a comparable approach in mediating in regional conflicts and other international conflicts. So collaborating in this regard will positively contribute to reducing global and regional tensions. South Africa and Qatar share a principled commitment to remind the world that the plight of Palestinian people remain a blight on the consciousness of the international community. And we agree that a just settlement must be anchored on the realization that self-determination of the Palestinians anchored in justice and equality.
Motshekga once again expressed the department's gratitude to Qatar for the donations made to schools in KZN, which were destroyed or damaged during the floods.
Again, thank the government and the people of Qatar for their generosity in providing the support following the devastating floods in KwaZulu-Natal earlier this year, and the donation ambassador in equipment and supplies to our schools, hospitals, and affected communities is sincerely appreciated. I really want to take this opportunity to continue to wish Qatar continued prosperity and vibrancy, as well as social harmony and stability. Of course, not forgetting the great success that the country has demonstrated. It has been keeping us quite happy and glued to our systems for the moment.
Coming up next, Minister Motshekga thanks basic education officials for their continued commitment to the sector.
Everyone has their own definition of what education is and means. What is yours? TED is a show that seeks to challenge the status quo by inviting guests that have a role and an inspiring story to tell about their journey in education.
A lot of it is not learner-centered.
This show seeks to dive in deeper conversations in quest of answering the big question, why education when there's so much to do outside of it? Why invest energy and resources that are so impactful in our society?
You're seeing a cartoon character that looks like you counting to 10.
This show airs on DBE TV channel 122. In case you miss it, binge watch it on YouTube, DBE TV. And also don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms, simply DBE TV.
Presidential Youth Employment Initiative. Siyakukhahlela mhlekazi. Vuma sikutyibele ngamagama akufaneleyo. Vuma sithi ungugxothi indlala. Umzila wakho ubonakele kwiminyaka nje emithathu zelwe. Zothuka ezinye inkqubo zengqesho ebezikho zazibuza uba ngumafikizolo otheni nalo usuke waba ngundaba mlonyeni. Zothuka ii-akhawunti zeebhanka zolutsha xa kungena ityhosha rhoqo emva kweminyaka yendlala nokuvaleleka kwamathuba engqesho. Bothuka abazali namaxhegokazi bephiwa imali esongwayo ngabazukulwana. Bangena ooplastiki bevenkile bephuphuma ngooninoni abathengwe ngetyhosha etsitse kuloo mimpele yakho ibhonxileyo. Batsho baziqonda abazali ukuba inene ukuzala kuzolula. Sizotshintsha ngoku sikhumshe kuba kufuneka siviwe kahle zizo zonke iintlanga xa sibhentsisa ngenguqu oze nayo ngexeshana kweli phondo nakwizwe lonke.
Basic Education Department has thanked officials who have been in the sector for between 10 and 40 years. Minister Angie Motshekga was joined by the Deputy Minister at the Long Service Awards held in Pretoria on the 25th of November. The awards recognize and honor the work done by those who have served in the basic education sector for a long time, that being 10, 20, 30, and 40 years.
I always tell people that DBE is not a service, it's a calling. And to find yourself in this space, for me, it's one of the biggest privileges that we can have as human beings. The privilege to touch the lives of angels, because children are angels. To be able to say, I contributed towards the well-being of this person. So it's one of the biggest privileges that I think we should always remain grateful. So even when you see children, I always call them my bosses, because it's one of the best things that you can do with your life, to be able to be in the Department of Education and say, I've contributed, but we really want to thank you most sincerely for being part of this journey, for being part of our lives, and for being part of the children.
She went on to say the years have not been easy, but she says because of the officials at the department, the sector is still prospering.
We've just gone through COVID. with all its difficulties, huge difficulties. We've lost colleagues. As a sector, we've lost big time in terms of learning and teaching. It's not been a very easy year. But I'm also grateful that when we requested our officials to come back to work, we didn't hesitate because we're dealing with one of the most important national assets, which is our children. And we made a call and came back. This year also has been an extremely busy year, coming back from COVID. We had to do work, business unusual. DM knows our bell rings, even now from 7 o'clock meetings. The bell rings at 7. Because we have to reclaim lost ground, lost opportunities, to make sure that we don't have a COVID generation. Our children should be children like other children. Then we have to do whatever it takes to protect them from the 2 years of disruption. But we also had a difficult year from natural disasters. We saw floods in KZN, riots in KZN, and also disruptive service delivery and protests in our country. Every day I get reports that we had to move children from this venue because there was this crisis. So we also operate in a very difficult space, which is really characterized by lawlessness, but also frustration. I think it's high levels of frustrations of unemployment, poverty, and just complete, I think there's just a high level of unhappiness that is there, and it's also disrupting the country big time.
Now, despite the challenges, Motshekga says there are some good news and some good progress being made in this year.
This year, we also welcomed the ECD program function in the department. And for me, ECD is like a new baby. You know, when there's a child in the house, there's always excitement, but you also know that so so ECD for me is just as critical and as important as it. It's a new baby in the house with huge potential for our sector. I'm extremely excited as a person that finally South Africa is putting children first. I'm not saying DSP was not good doing their work because we took the function from them. But we know also as education, we have a huge footprint in the country. No one can make, you give us anything big, we'll be able to carry. And I know this for a fact, program director. I used to, when I was in Gauteng, was also once in the MC for social development. The department works on the basis of other agencies. It's not a department that has the infrastructure like we have as DBE. And I'm really excited that we have been given this opportunity because I think it's an opportunity we should all grab and pay attention to. Because for me, it's an opportunity to make our children's lives better.
The Eastern Cape Education Department has urged learners not to take part in any so-called pens down parties or celebrations. In June this year, 21 young people aged between 13 and 19 died at Enyobeni Tavern in East London. It's understood the tavern hosted a pens down party after the mid-year exams. The tragedy led to questions once again about underage drinking, with the police minister Bheki Cele asking why the venue only had one exit and entrance. He also held parents to account and questioned why they had allowed their young children to be out late on that fateful night. Now, the Provincial Education MEC, Fundile Kade, has sent a stern warning to learners about these kinds of parties and the dangers thereof. That's how we end this bulletin this week on Channel 122 on OpenView and on YouTube. Thank you for watching.